Hello everyone, it is Saturday night and I'm in my pajamas, but I just finished my current book, so it's time for another episode of TBR Zero, and I probably the last one because we only have 3 books left. I know what the big one is because it's bigger, but I don't know what the other ones are, and one of them is for my book club, so I hope it comes up sooner rather than later. But how it works, we have a spinner wheel, we have numbers on the books, and we just spin a number and get a book and read it, and then I'll let you know what I think about it. So we have our spinning wheel here, and we're gonna spin. Number 2. Okay, so that's the big one, the taller one. So I know what that one is, and this is for the Women's Prize for Non-Fiction, I believe. And as you can see, yes. So this is Ask Me How It Works by Deepa Paul. This is an ARC copy that I bought without knowing that it was an ARC copy from a second-hand place, and I was very excited about this one. This is supposed to be about polyamory, and it's also set in Amsterdam, but since then I have heard not amazing things about this. Apparently it's not a very good representation of polyamory, so I don't know how this is gonna go, but we'll find out together, I guess. Yes, we will see. It's also, it says here, an uncorrected proof, so I hope it's not too bad. Hello. So I finished Ask Me How It Works by Deepa Paul, and I have mixed feelings about this. I think the writing is very good and very compelling. I think a little bit too compelling though, because the story is about this woman that is in an open marriage. She's Filipino Indian. She was born and raised in the Philippines, and then they moved to Amsterdam. And she's married with a daughter, and eventually she feels like she needs more, so she starts having relationships with other people. And it's a kind of going through the process of how that looks for them, what her husband is willing and not willing to accept, how that evolves over time, and like the dynamics in general of an open marriage, which some of it I understood and I appreciated, of the openness, especially about the communication and how important communication is in such situations. What I did not like so much is that she's very sex obsessed. What I didn't like so much is that she's very sex obsessed and self-indulgent. I mean, sex obsession, it's like, it's not my thing, but you do you kind of thing. But she goes into not super graphic detail, but she goes into some details about what she does with all these men that she sleeps with. And she doesn't seem like the most responsible person always. She's always sure that to be safe and stuff, but she takes drugs and that sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, especially when they have a daughter, it feels a little bit uncomfortable. And the other part is even more important, that she's very self-absorbed, and so this starts as cheating and then evolves into an open marriage, but starts as cheating, and it's the most maybe obvious, but it's not the only time that she puts herself over other people's needs, and she mostly often puts her own needs over her husband's feelings. They have a set of rules that they set to themselves, and she breaks them several times, obviously cheating, but even when they are in an open marriage, they have rules like you do not fall in love with someone, and then she starts falling for someone, and he asks her, do I have to be worried? And she says no, and he continues seeing this man, and eventually she falls in love, and at that point their relationship has evolved to the point that her husband is kind of okay with it, but that should have been communicated much better, in my opinion. Like, there are a few moments like that is like, okay, but you should not do that. You don't have the okay to do those things that you're doing, you know. So yeah, I didn't like her. I don't think she was the most responsible, aware person of other people's feelings that she could have been. Um, and I don't think this is the best example of polyamory that exists, especially because it started as cheating. But there were some compelling things in the book, and the way that she writes it, as I said, is very compelling, and you feel like you understand her. But then you have to pause sometimes and be like, wait, she's indulging herself into this understanding. This is actually not okay, you know, like almost gaslighting yourself. So yeah, it's not the best book about polyamory, but it also does have some good things about it. On some of the ways that she talks about it and tries to normalize it, I like that. Obviously, I think it makes a lot of sense to have a polyamorous like style of life, relationship, whatever. In many ways, like this monogamous culture that we have around us, in a lot of ways, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because expecting someone to only be deeply attracted and have chemistry for one single person in their whole life is quite not um, not necessarily the healthiest thing, and expecting those people to feel each other's needs fully, it's also not fully healthy, probably. um, but the way that she does it, like as I said, starts with cheating, but also like she keeps pressuring her husband for this open marriage that he is clearly not ready for, and he pushes him to also go on dates and also go to clubs and go into the clubbing scene because she likes it, not because he wants anything to do with it. And then at some point he enjoys it, and she's like, see, I liberated him. uh, yeah, I have issues with that. So yeah, I don't know what to think about this. I'll let you get what you want from that review. But yeah, we can pick our next book, and obviously there's only two left. So the next one I pick will, like, there will be the last one that needs a wheel for it, because of then it will only be one book. And on that note, I smashed my phone screen a couple of days ago. I have ordered a new second-hand phone, but it's coming next week, so I have to deal with what I have to deal with now. But when you see my broken screen, don't worry, it's fine. It still works. But anyway, let's spin. Okay, number one. Number one is this one. So let's see. One of these two is my book club's book, and I want to read it soonish, but I don't know which one it is. So we'll see if it's this one. No, it's not. So my book club book is the last one. Oh well. Blood Over Bright Heaven by Emil Wang. A lot of people have been talking about this and the Sword of Kaigen as two very good fantasies. I saw this in my bookstore and I picked it up. I wanted to try it out. I have been into a bit of a fantasy mood recently, so I thought it would be fun. And here we are reading this. I don't actually know the plot or anything, so let's read together. For 20 years, Siona has devoted every waking moment to the study of magic. When she finally achieves her ambition to become the first woman admitted to the High Magistracy at the University of Magic and Industry, she finds herself undermined at every turn. Instead of a lab assistant, she's paired with a janitor, putting her crucial research at risk. Okay, so it sounds like maybe dark academia? I don't know, academia, magic school. That sounds really good. I'm excited. Hello. So I finished Blood Over Bright Heaven by M.L. Wang, and I really like this. So this is a fantasy book, obviously, and it's about this woman who is going to become the first high mage woman of the city. And at first we see that women are treated quite badly. It's supposed to be like, you're supposed to stay at home and take care of the children, and very patriarchal society. But she's very brilliant, and so she's going into this academy. And then very quickly we saw that there is this, let's say, double standards between the Quen, who are the servants of this world and the savage tribes of this world, and the high society that this woman is from. She gets in touch with one of the Quen. He becomes her assistant, and together they discover some very disturbing things about the world, and kind of try to solve it together. And I like the world. I like the magic system. The magic system reminded me a little bit of coding and energy grids in our world, and I guess that's intentional. Like, it's a lot about how things that we don't even think about hurt people. Like, let's say how we just turn on the lights and we don't think about how that is burning fossil fuels and killing people and killing people's environments, or how we just buy clothes and we don't think about the people that make them that in horrible conditions. It's a little bit like that kind of thought process, a little bit more brutal in this this system and this world. And the magic is a lot like coding. Basically, they have these spellograph things that are kind of computers, and they put spells and things in it, and depending on the order and of the spells and stuff, different things happen. So I don't like coding. So I like the science aspect of it, and I also like the social commentary of it. I found the main character, Siona, this high mage woman, very, very, very irritating, entitled, and very hard to follow, but I think that's part of the point. So yeah, overall I really enjoyed this, and I'm very happy that I read it. And now we only have one book in our TBR, and I know what it is, obviously, because it's the last one, but we're going to open it together, and I will read it and let you know what I think of it when I read it. So this is the book, Ordinary Saints by Niam Ni Maolaine. And as far as I understand, this is about a queer Irish woman in the Catholic faith sort of realm. I don't know that much about it. It's for my book club, so I'm going it a little bit more blind. But I'm excited. Like everyone in my book club is saying how much they love this, so I'm having high hopes, and I will let you know when I read it. Hello. So I finished the last book on the TBR Zero challenge, and that is Ordinary Saints by Niam Ni Maolaine, if I pronounce that correctly. And this is a really fun book. So this is following mostly Jay, who is a queer woman living in London. And when she was young, she had a brother that was very holy. He went to the Vatican to study religion, and he died in a tragic car accident when she was about 12. And we follow many years later when actually they are planning to make him a saint, or her parents are working to make her a saint. And it talks a lot about religion and how that affects especially queer people living in their lives, and um, being looked down upon and rejected because of who they are. And on the other side of things, this very holy person that could do no wrong. And it talks about family and what that does to family, and also like the process of becoming a saint. And I didn't know, but apparently it's true that the last 3 popes have made more saints than anyone else, any other pope combined in the rest of history, which is crazy to think about. But there was also things like, if they make him a saint, all of his things and his remains are going to be taken out and spread around the world in different churches for people to pray to. And that is still very weird when like his parents and sister are still alive, to something to do, and they are kind of taking the person that they knew and loved and using his image in a way that maybe they don't, or at least Jay doesn't agree with. And so yeah, there's a lot of things in this book that are very serious and are very well thought out. Like the relationship between Jay and her parents at first is very black and white. Like, I don't like you, you don't like me. She doesn't talk about them to her friends at all. But then they have some heartfelt conversations at some points, and it does bring a little bit of understanding of where they are coming from and the beliefs that they hold and why they do the things they do. So it's not condemning the whole idea of religion. It's more about, there are 2 points of view that cannot be reconciled, but they can still be people that love each other and acknowledge each other and each other's lives in a way that is not harmful. And that was very cool. But also, like, Jay is very witty. This book is very funny, and I think the color scheme of the cover indeed does give the vibe that it's not going to be a super serious book. And even though it had really serious themes and they were treated with a lot of thought and a lot of nuance, it's also very funny, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. So highly recommend. And that was the last book in my TBR challenge. I do have other books that have come to my TBR since, but it's only like a couple of them, and I will be reading them next month. So I'm not worried about that. I consider myself, I have a TBR that is pretty much 0. So I'm very happy about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think about these books, if you have read them, if you haven't read them, if you want to read them. And until next video, bye!